I was just firing as I went into the room. I just started firing.
In what direction?
In front of me.
What was in front of you?
My parents.
And I remember firing directly at him. I ran around and shot my mom.
This is the woman who gave birth to them. This is what they did to their mother.
Imagine living with your family in one of the world's most exclusive places, surrounded by wealthy and powerful people. Kind living hides dark secrets, though, ones that are so horrible they lead to a cold-blooded murder. Two wealthy brothers might be motivated to commit such a horrible murder in different ways. Was it stress or something much worse? Today, we untangle the amazing story of Lyle and Erik Menendez, a real criminal case still enthralls the world decades after. Let's look at the disaster that tore apart the image of a perfect family and left everyone wondering what really happened behind the Menendez estate walls. It looked like the Menendez family had everything. José Menendez, who came to the United States from Cuba, had a successful career as an executive in Hollywood. Former beauty queen Kitty married him, and together they raised their two kids, Lyle and Erik, in the center of Beverly Hills, California. They lived a life of wealth, with trips to faraway places, private schools, tennis lessons, and big fancy homes and companies. Benevolent behind the ideal family, though, were tales of strife. José was a demanding, controlling father who pushed his boys towards success non-stop. His friends and acquaintances could tell that José had very high hopes for Lyle and Erik. Kitty used to be a lively woman, but she struggled with depression and feelings of not being good enough, and she quietly slipped into a world of prescription drugs. The pressure increased as the boys became older. The eldest, Lyle, joined Princeton, but was finally kicked for plagiarism, a terrible blow to José, who considered this public humiliation. Though Erik, the quieter and more withdrawn of the two, was great at tennis, he fell short of the academic standards his father set for him. Though problems simmered under the surface, none could have expected the degree of family breakdown. 1989 brought about changes in everything. Originally the image of rich young people, Lyle and Erik would later reveal a terrible truth about their family. Their testimony suggests that José Menendez was an abuser rather than only a strict dad. The boys claimed years of physical, mental, and sexual mistreatment by their father. These claims presented a scary picture of the guy the people used to respect. Living under constant worry, Lyle and Erik said they felt their father would kill them to stop the truth from ever coming out. The basis of their defense in the next years would become this accusation of abuse. Still, was this the reason they went to murder? Alternatively, was it a handy cover for a considerably more egocentric goal? The world of the Menendez family will be permanently changed on August 20th, 1989. Lyle and Erik grabbed guns that evening and carried out months of worth of plans. Unaware of the bloodshed about to be released, José and Kitty Menendez were sitting at their Beverly Hills home. While their father was sitting on the couch, Lyle and Erik shot him in the head. When Kitty tried to leave, they fired many times until she lay dead on the floor. The detectives that showed up at the scene were stunned by the savagery of the killings. Blood spilled all around the walls. Both bodies were covered with gunshot wounds. The first view held that a failed heist was the cause of the killings. But soon, the facts would fall apart, and it would be obvious that this was no random act of brutality.
I like your mother?
I loved my mother and I tried to help her.
Did she know about the abuse, the sexual abuse?
She knew.
And didn't do anything?
She knew, and it doesn't seem that she did anything.
Lyle and Erik looked like devastated boys in the immediate wake of the killings. Attending their parents' funeral, they seemed to be terribly upset. Then something unusual occurred. They started lavishly wasting their parents' money. They went on extravagant trips, bought pricey clothes and luxury cars. They seemed to have no worry in the world. For researchers, this sudden change in behavior begged important questions. Why were these supposed to be bereaved kids acting so carelessly? The boys' tales started to show flaws soon as the cops started looking more closely. The breakthrough came when guilt-ridden Erik told Dr. Jerome Oziel, his doctor. Erik told Oziel everything: the plan, the performance, the aftermath. Desperate to keep the information hidden, Lyle threatened the therapist's life should she ever share it. But Oziel visited the police afraid for his safety. Lyle and Erik Menendez were taken under arrest in 1990 for killing their parents. One of the most amazing cases in American history, the trial that followed would turn out to be the brothers' defense said that years of mistreatment and fear for their own lives had pushed them to kill. Painting a picture of a family living in constant fear, they recounted in agonizing detail about the claimed physical and sexual violence they suffered at the hands of their father.
Questions that everybody asks, like, why didn't you run away?
I wish that I could have. I tried to run away when I was 12, and my father found me.
More calm, Lyle backed his brother's claims, stating they thought his parents meant to murder them in order to keep the truth from ever emerging. But the government told a different story. They said that the brothers' drive came from greed rather than from fear. The ostensive shopping binge following the killings seemed to imply that Lyle and Erik were more interested in their parents' wealth than in avoiding abuse. They said that this was a cold, deliberate act, citing the proof of premeditation, how the brothers had carefully planned the killings. The trial gripped the country, every move of the case watched by millions of everyday viewers. Public opinion was split. Were Lyle and Erik cruel killers killing their parents for profit, or were they victims of terrible mistreatment?
He caught me and said, if you ever run away, I will kill you, I will find you, and I will kill you.
The first trial came up with a hung jury, as the members couldn't agree on anything. On the retreat, nevertheless, the brothers were found guilty of first-degree murder. Their punishments were lifelong in jail without any chance of freedom. Many people started to question the truth based on the result. Were Lyle and Erik Menendez victims of terrible suffering, or were they young men driven by greed and manipulation who created a fitting story to spare themselves from the death sentence?
He would find me and probably kill me. I thought for certain he would kill me.
You still think that?
The argument
absolutely.
is still raging today. Some people back the brothers, while others name them as merciless killers. Lyle and Erik Menendez are still behind bars today, serving their different terms. Reflecting on their actions over more than 3 decades, they have held that their father's abuse was the impetus for their behavior. Over the years, they have held interviews saying they acted out of desperation and fear rather than profit. Notwithstanding their claims, the Menendez case remains among the most controversial in American criminal history. While some find the brothers' accounts of the abuse believable, others view their acts as nothing more than cold-blooded murder driven by avarice. This is a situation that still haunts the public awareness, as it tells us that sinister secrets can exist even in the richest homes.
And she told me that she knew, that she had known all my life what my father was doing. And it was like I didn't even know who she was anymore.
Among the most difficult and sad stories in modern history is that of the Menendez brothers. This is a story about privilege, authority, and the terrible forces lurking beneath even the most seemingly ideal homes.
And I just saw Dad and Mom as the same person at that point. I saw them as a single person.
Whether
Really,
you think
the first
Lyle
time-
and Erik were victims or criminals, their tale tells us terrible of the extent humans will go to hide the truth or escape the pain of their past.
Torturous. And yet I thought that he was the most powerful and brilliant person I had ever met.
I was his firstborn son. That was very important to him. And my bond with him was, I thought, strong because we had been through so much together. But it was difficult to see the things that were going on. And,
Things that were going on, that is, when you learned that he was sexually molesting your brother?
he had sexually molested me before I was a teenager. And it was a much different experience than Erik's.
Because you were little?
Because I was little.
As we close the chapter on this deeply unsettling yet captivating case, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you see the Menendez brothers as victims of a tragic past or as something more sinister? Your reflections mean a lot, not just to us but to the larger conversation around this story. When you engage with our videos, it truly motivates the Motion Mysteries team to keep bringing you well-researched, true crime stories that spread important insights and information. If you found value in this deep dive, liking the video helps us know we're on the right track, and it helps others discover stories like this too. And if you'd like to be a part of more compelling narratives, consider subscribing to Motion Mysteries. Your support makes all the difference in bringing these stories to light. Thank you for being here with us.